Hello everyone. I wanted to basically make this video. It's totally unprepared, but there's really not lots of videos about vasectomy and the truth of vasectomies on YouTube that I could find when I was looking for it. So here it goes. So I will make a lot of mistakes probably. English is not my native language, and it will be like a rant, you will have to put the pieces of the puzzle back together yourself. But I do hope that after this video you will kind of understand that vasectomy in men cause harm to all men and is really not normal from a health point of view. So I'm not going to talk about ethical issues here, just basically the way the human body works and why it's a bad deal for every man's health to do a vasectomy. So first of all, 1.5 years ago I got my vasectomy, and that was because my girlfriend got pregnant again, even though she had a spiral, and the threshold for me to do vasectomy at that point was lower. And since my dad had done one and I knew a friend and somebody at work and my dad's friends had a vasectomy, it was pretty popular in the 80s, even more now than now. For me it was like a no-brainer, I have to do this for some emotional stability. I was pretty much a control freak back then, a little bit less now, at least on that point, but it screwed up my life. So first of all, to me, I'm pretty much aware about a lot of issues, a lot of health issues, about the vaccinations, GMOs, tooth fillings, you name it, all those things that are introducing new things in your body that can cause immediate or later problems in life. But I didn't know that vasectomy was one of those. So it's pretty much the same, you will see. Basically, here in the Netherlands where I live, and also in Belgium, vasectomies are pretty much normalized. People don't question too much anymore about the whys and the do's and the don'ts. And the studies that have been done about vasectomies and the problems associated with it are pretty much old, actually. They're already from the 80s. And they've got pretty much dismissed by most of the medical community as being non-relevant or not done on the proper testing subjects. Just like they do with, with GMOs or fluoride in the water or you name it. All those things are being accepted as normal and no problem at all. But it is not. These are things that harm the body. Now, first of all, when you have a vasectomy, the most common problem for most men after having a vasectomy is congestion. Basically, the sperm that used to go out of the body will now get trapped and has to be reabsorbed by the body. And if that doesn't happen fast enough, you get a congestion pain, which is pretty chronic and really harms your daily life, day and night, whenever you go, whenever you sit. And most men who have problems after vasectomy, it's due to congestion problems. I'm glad to tell you that when you find a good reversal specialist, that can probably fix your problems if properly done and if the pipes stay open, obviously. Now, that's one of those, I said reabsorption. They use exactly the same term here in the Netherlands. The sperm gets reabsorbed by the body. To me, when they told me that sounded like something normal, something like the body's been doing for years. I knew the testes could do that, so yeah, why not? And we have a little bit of water, it gets reabsorbed. You have a little bit of put cream, it gets reabsorbed. You have a little bit of blood, everything gets reabsorbed right by the body. The body takes care of a lot of things, so why not with the sperm? Actually, it turns out that the body is not aware of anything like sperm before a vasectomy. It's totally new. So, when they say it gets reabsorbed, you could translate it as there is several mutilations going on in your scrotum, several weird stuff that cause it to go to the blood, and then the blood has to do something with it and is able to absorb it. Now, what actually happens is, so once the sperm gets produced in the testicles, it goes to the, like we say in Dutch, the bijbal. In English, it's a hard name, epididymis, something like that, and that's where it gets finished up as a final product, the sperm, in which it ends up after that in the epididymis tail, which is like hundreds of meters long tail, and then it flows through a giant long tube, which is called the vas deferens, to the prostate, where it gets out of the body through the penis. So at the moment when they cut the vas deferens, basically the biggest issue that all men always have, whether they are feeling it immediately or not, is an autoimmune response to their own sperm. Basically what happens is the epididymis has several layers of tissues that protect your body against sperm, your body saying the blood, and the sperm, when it gets built up because of the pressure, it will go through all of those layers, and at a certain point it reaches the blood, and the blood will say, hey, alert, sperm found, let's do something about that, and it will dismantle the sperm, and it will neutralize it as if it were a virus. So it will also develop antigens against the properties of the sperm. Now, a sperm contains probably hundreds of properties, of proteins, enzyme, you name it, that are inherent to a sperm. It's, source of life, and they discovered certain properties exist in other parts of your body, and that's where an autoimmune disease starts, because once your blood mingles with the sperm and it produces those antibodies, it will also affect other parts of your body where similar properties are found. In the 80s they had a study with monkeys where they found out that the enzyme that makes the tail of the sperm move exists in your brain, where it's used to make new neurons. So they actually made a link between Alzheimer's disease there. Basically, once it reaches your brain somehow, then it will get attacked. It will not form those new neurons anymore. So there's similar effects on other parts of the body, which you can find out in similar studies, and they've all been dismissed as being non-important, not the right test subjects, just like they do nowadays with other things like fluoride or GMOs. Everything gets approved nowadays because it's simply not visible enough for people to see the link. Although immunologists, who have that as a profession, people who really deal with these problems every day, they clearly find it a bad idea to do a vasectomy, because it opens up your body to a whole range of problems. For them, it's really a no-go. They see it as an experiment, these things. And urologists, they are more like it's easy, it works. They don't really question the immunological problems you can have later on in life. It doesn't have to be later on. It doesn't have to take decades. There are men who literally who have organ failures and real big problems after vasectomy, whereas before that they were perfectly healthy. I should probably give you the link later on the post-vasectomy forum. You should check it out with what some type of men can have. They are a minority. For most men it will be when they get older, for me too, when you have certain problems that cannot be really related anymore. because you know, I've also had my vaccinations when I was a kid. Those things take decades too. You eat your whole life toxins, which maybe at a certain type of your time of your life they get out of those fat tissues, and you get, if it doesn't get transported to the gut and out of the body, it gets reabsorbed in other parts of the body. So you'll have no real relation, but it's really clear from an immunological point of view, the sperm is being protected from your immune system, and there is a good reason for it. And when you release that into the bloodstream and get reabsorbed, like they say, once you do a vasectomy, even when you do a reversal, whatever you do, there's no way back. The genie is out of the bottle, like they say. Your body has the ability to destroy your sperm from then on, and it will keep doing that. So that's really something underestimated, really. But one of the more prominent accepted problems are more direct, like nerve pain, structural damage. Let's talk about that. I have a lot of nerve pain, for instance. It means that when I walk, it's like I have a little scissor in my groin who is always, and it really hurts. It really does. And there's not much you can do about it. There are some people in the world who do something about that. I will maybe talk later about that. Now, what's actually astonishing to me, that here in the Netherlands they make it seem so easy. We take your scrotum, you have the vas deferens, we locate it, we take out the vas deferens, we cut it, we sew both ends or one of them, and we let it go back in the scrotum. A little gap, few days, no problem. But they then actually there were some problems mentioned. Now that I had, to me they were saying there's 3% of men who have problems, congestion problems, but that will go away. And well, I chose for an open-ended vasectomy, which means that the site from the testicles will not be sewed, allowing the sperm to go freely in the scrotum, thus not causing any congestion problems. That for me was a big deal, since the number one issue is usually congestion. So having that bullet point off my list, I was pretty happy with that. And yeah, of course, you can have a sperm granuloma, but they said they could fix that. They could take it away. Sperm granuloma is basically a little donut-shaped structure on the end of your of an open-ended vasectomy, which grows and it could hurt. Wow, they just cut a fresh piece out of it. It's gone. Maybe next time it doesn't grow back. Maybe. But in the end, an open-ended vasectomy is an illusion. My doctor told me, it's always gonna close anyway. So there you go. Don't choose an open-ended vasectomy thinking it won't close, because it maybe does that for a while, but it's doomed to close. At least that's what my doctor told me afterwards. Now, once you realize that, the vas deferens is basically layered. It has several encapsulated structures around it. It's full of nerves, it has blood vessels, muscles, and that all is covered by, the vas deferens is covered by that. So they have to really do damage whether they like it or not. You have to get that vas deferens out, and you could put a clip like they sometimes do in America. I was not aware of that at my time. That probably is less invasive because you don't have to stitch anything. Thus, it will probably create a smaller scar tissue. But the deal is, here in the Netherlands, in Benelux, everything is done with stitches. So they basically stitch the end up. And in my case, even, they did facial interposition, which means that they will take the vas deferens and they will not only stitch it, but they will put it a little bit higher up and stitch it again there, so that there's really no way that the two ends can reconnect. Now all of those stitches and all of those scar tissue that gets formed afterwards can entrap the nerves, and then you end up with nerve pain. There's a lot of people who have nerve pain, and there is really no way you can avoid that with a simple procedure like they do, you know, with the naked eye. It's not as if they can see all of those things very well. Without a microscope, you can't really see those details. So nerve pain is a big issue. It could be chronic nerve pain like I have. It could be a nerve pain when you get a boner, when you get an erection. It could be a nerve pain when you ejaculate, when your balls go up, and basically you have to imagine all those cylindrical structures around the vas deferens. They're very smooth, you know. And then someone comes in, scar tissue gets formed, and it doesn't really move so good anymore, and then you get all kinds of issues there. Another problem that can exist is you can have a spermatocytes, cysts, I believe they call it in America, or cyst, CYST. Basically, in order to cope for the big amount of pressure in the epididymis tail, you will have let's call it a big plastic bag that gets formed where the sperm will reside. It will make a little, you know, they call it, I believe they call it epididymal blowouts, and it happened. And you know, there's some studies that looked for those things while they did the reversals, and they found them in like 80% of men. So when you have a vasectomy, you're doomed to have epididymal blowouts, and when that grows too big, you have a pain also. And when they take it back, it can always grow at another point, because you know your body is keeps making that sperm. Basically, there's no way to get rid of that unless you remove the testicles, and then you have a whole other range of issues. So those are the two major things basically. First, I find autoimmune disease that is bound to happen for lots of men, and all men are prone to that, because that's a matter of weeks before your body processes that sperm and becomes making antigens against that. And the second thing is, of course, the structural damage in the scrotum, which is really irreversible. They say they can fix a lot of stuff, but you know, as you can take away a sperm granuloma, it grows back. You can take away a cyst, it can grow back. Unfortunately, here in the Netherlands, when someone has a congestion, they sometimes remove the epididymis, and then they get all kinds of phantom pains, or usually it's the testicle that starts hurting after that. I don't know why, probably because the testicle has to deal with the problem then. It just doesn't fix. I mean, medical people, get your stuff in order. See things a bit like mathematics, okay? If it doesn't match, don't do it. If it doesn't come out, don't do it. Don't just guess and you know, it has been accepted too long, this mutilation. It's not normal to call it reabsorption. It's a defect that you cause in your body that causes the reabsorption. It's a whole process of problems that cause the solution suddenly. And it's not even a solution. Your body has to cope with the sperm. It's causing problems too. So I don't know, I don't see any way around this. Right now in India they are developing a polymer, which is another way of blocking the sperm. It's basically it's plastic, which is liquid. Put it in the body, gets hard, sperm can't get through. You want to have kids again? Fine. They will inject another polymer which makes it soft, and it can be ejaculated. Really, that will Most men will be fine with that. They will be like, oh yeah, if I get autoimmune disease later on, multiple sclerosis or Alzheimer, that's fine, you know, I can die when I'm 60, jump off a bridge, I will make a short life. People don't really wonder what will happen to them later on in life, because it's not as if you're suddenly losing your leg or something. It's later on that the problems are. So mentally people are fine with that, and probably that polymer will avoid a lot of the structural damage. The only problem you will still have, the nice thing is that, you know, you have a congestion, you will notice it. Well, the polymer will, or when you have remove a clip, it's the same as injecting another polymer, and you have again the free flow of sperm. So that's a nice thing. But you will have to cope with immunological problems always, because that's something that happens within days after vasectomy. I don't know what else to say. I hope you understand better that from a surgical point of view, they have options, but there's also, they are not 100%. People with nerve pain, in America there's a clinic called My Pure Clinic, famous Dr. P, Dr. B, you can read all about that, and they are specializing in men with testicular pain, groin pain, nerve problems. And one of the things they do a lot is microscopical denervation, or called neurologists. But they do it with a robot, they have their own ways, they have more experience, they have better results. But still, when 15% of the people end up with more pain or the same pain afterwards, it's really annoying. It's an annoying thing. They have a whole waterfall system, you know. Once you've been through that thing, they will do another more invasive procedure, until they basically drogue you down to the level of the latest thing is Botox injections in nerves to calm them down. It's pretty nasty. It's better not to get to that point in your life, right? You don't want to risk something that is pretty irreversible. Even the microsurgeons who do the reversals, even the best ones still have failures. Although I have to say, if you find a really good one who does it a lot, you're probably better off. And that kind of makes me sad at this point, because yeah, I could tell you about my personal experience maybe. So at this point, if you were just interested in vasectomies and why you shouldn't do one, there you have it. And maybe I can still talk a bit about my personal life, what happened there. Basically what happened, I had an open-ended vasectomy, and the open end got stuck on the closed end somehow, I don't know, during the recovery, and that caused me a lot of pain. I started investigating vasectomies, started reading about these things. I decided to do a vasectomy reversal, looked for the best specialists, best microsurgeons who do this often. In the UK, there's lots of them. In Germany, I found one which really does a lot of them. And in the Netherlands too. In Belgium I found a few, and I narrowed it down to Belgium in the end, because it's close by, and the government basically also pays a part of it, so it's cheaper to do it here. I think if let's say you come from abroad and you do a reversal here, it will cost you around 1,200 to 1,500 euros, and it will be a microsurgical procedure. But there's not a lot of places. I really mailed all the hospitals. I narrowed it down to the University Hospital in Ghent. I went to Aalst, which is Dr. Alex Motry, famous urologist, and somehow I ended up with Bo Kolzat in Antwerp because basically I called him and he was very positive about everything and about microsurgery and the suture and all the details I had, so I made an appointment with that guy too. So I had 3 people. I thought, nice, I have 3 people who are professional microsurgeons and I'm going to give it a shot. So I made an appointment with every 3 of them. My first appointment was in Ghent. How is that guy called again? Let's see. Ghent. Vasectomy. Can't even. I don't know the name anymore. Karel Everard. Yeah, that guy is called Karel Everard, and he does a lot of operations in the scrotum with people, and he has a focus on structural problems in the scrotum. So I went there. Yeah, he said he was doing it twice a month, which is basically my minimum requirement. And he does microsurgery. He is doing 2-layer operation with 7/0 and 8/0 sutures. If you're interested in that, it takes fairly enough time, and you get a few days recovery in the hospital. So it's not a clinic; you can stay there. But the way he presented it was so weird. It's like, yeah, you have a problem on your left side, but not on your right side. So I only want to do one side. For me, it was not about that, right? It was about getting the sperm flowing, getting rid of the future possible blowouts and obstructions. Because if you wait too long, what happens is the epididymis tail is extremely long and it will get blocked. They will do a vasectomy. Most of them in Belgium, I don't think they test to see if there is still sperm, and they will have to live with the block there. And a more problematic procedure is when they attach the vas deferens to the epididymis itself. In Ghent, they didn't give me a good feeling. The guy said also, yeah, we are in university, there is a student, the student can make a few stitches also, unless you pay for a VIP treatment. Then I do it myself. And it didn't came as if he was very serious about things and a perfectionist in his profession. He was like, yeah, I do it 2 times a week. Oh, I'm actually happy that I can do it. It's so easy. It's like a little thing of all the complicated things. It's like a little thing for me to do. It's not little thing. It's something you have to do a lot to get a success rate. Over there too, they don't keep track of that. They don't come out for it that they do it a lot. So yeah, next appointment was in Antwerp with Bo Kolzat. He also was very much talking into microsurgery, sutures. I could even choose my own size of sutures and my methods depending on what I read. He could do it all. He did it twice a month. He was talking me into it, but he's a charlatan, as it turned out. And I probably would have went for Aalst if it weren't that the day of my appointment, the appointment was cancelled because apparently Dr. Motri was in a congress. I was driving to Belgium. I was in a traffic jam. I called the hospital. Hey, I'm gonna get too late. Oh, but you don't have an appointment today. We send you a mail. A paper mail. But that was on my address where I used to live in Belgium, so I never got that. So I never got to see Motri, but probably it's the best guy to go to when you're in the Benelux. Basically, they use a robot, the Da Vinci machine, to do the microsurgical enhancements, and they use a 3-layer technique. They basically prototyped the way you can do it with the Da Vinci robot, and even the people in Florida, the MyPure clinic, the famous Dr. P, has first-handed learned it from Alex Motri, how to do this, and improved upon that for the last 10 years of his career, of course. Basically, that guy, Alex Motri, is where I would go to if I have another issue, which I have. And since I wanted to do it and get over it, I chose Bokolzat. He really gave me a good feeling, but the guy is really a charlatan. I remember I was in that room, sitting on the chair, everything looked a bit dusty and basic, and I was like, where's the operating microscope? You know, most of the times those things are hanging, or they really heavy machines, they're hanging over you. Oh, it's coming, he said, it's coming. And he was sedating me, so I was falling asleep, and I woke up, and after I woke up and my girlfriend was pressing on my scrotum for the last 1 hour and a half, because he said it would cause problems. So I went home, I had a big hematoma. It turned out he used 4O sutures, something which they used to do in the 70s and the 80s before microsurgery. He used his eyes, or maybe a loop. I don't know what he did, because the whole operating verslag, the thing you get after the operation, you know, the text that I asked for was a complete fantasy story. He even said, like, yeah, we sat down with the wife and the guy, and we said that at the left side there would probably only be a chance of 5%. 5%, yeah, then you're not going to go there, right? If he would blame that. So I don't really know what he did on the left side, what happened. All I know is that he was a very inexperienced person who knows how to please people mentally. That's his big plus. But technically, it's probably I could have gone to a. It's like the same as when you would go to a blind man and say, "Now you put that vas deferens together, boy." So I really got screwed up there, and now I'm in a lot of problems. I have a lot of nerve pain. I have my scrotum sac, which is basically stuck to the inside. I don't really know what part, but that pulls, that causes pain. I feel that there's a spermatocyte forming on the right side. So make sure you know a lot of people who've been there before. And I did that. I found him on the scrotum, and people were very enthusiastic about him. And I read the forum afterwards, and none of them actually had a throughput on their sperm. But it's such a great doctor. He's doing such a great job. And he always had an issue, like in the forum you can read afterwards, you know. Yeah, the previous doctor really made a mess, he said. He cut away so much, it was so thin I couldn't almost do it. So he always had something. In my case, he said that he found metal clips. Ooh, he found 8 metal clips on both ends, and one of the ends was an open-ended vasectomy, which he probably forgot already. So he made up an issue to make it seem as if it was all because of that it went wrong, and he does that with every single patient. And after that I figured out that if you type his name wrong in Google, you end up at the site where he used to work in Utrecht, where as a leader of the urology department, and they basically had to sue him in order to kick him out after 1 year, because there were so many problems with people, and I cannot even get those documents. I have found some people who complain about that on forums, but I cannot get access to what happened to those people in the 80s. So that's 30 years ago. He's been doing his career like that as a charlatan for years, and I'm very sad for all the people who have permanent problems because of Bokolzat. And the difference between the way he presents himself and what he is so big. I can probably believe that he's a good mental physics professor, but he shouldn't operate on people. He probably can't anymore in the Netherlands. He probably has a restriction. He is in the, like we say in Dutch, the Tuchtcollege. He has 30 entries there, and in the Netherlands, that's all I could say. They had like a lot of people, a lot of. It was a big document. Let's put it like that. A big deal, and he got kicked out of this country. And he went to Belgium. He continued. 4 years ago, I believe, his practice got bankrupt because of tax fraud, and somehow all the documents from all the patients disappeared. They blamed it on the secretary. Don't know the details about that. That's and I probably should shut up also about this, because I could talk about an hour about this doctor and all the weird things he said and all this thing, the strange things that happened to afterwards, and about how he sees things, and how about he's, you know, like one of those doctors who thinks that he's the best and nobody else knows better. But these things are, I actually also made a complaint, and it's still under an investigation, so I'll keep it quiet for now. But when it's done, I will write something about that, somehow as a memorial for him. This thing should get out. So yeah, I'm pretty much in a big mess right now also because of the vasectomy. So I give you one advice: don't do it. And I don't really know what the other solutions are. For men, I don't know. They used to take hot baths in the old ages, you know. Maybe you can try that, but it will not bring it down to 0% chance. I don't know for men. You can't block the sperm, that's a problem. For women though, there's been also very nasty stuff, right? The latest thing is, which is a bit better, the Ensure thing, which is they place a cone over the eggs, the place where the eggs come out, and it kind of ties up that place. But I've also read some bad experiences about that. So at this point, I don't know which medical procedure is actually safe. They might call it safe. You really have to be aware of that. You know, here in the Netherlands, they talk about 3%. My girlfriend is Romanian. I once let her mother check out Romanian sites. There on the clinic, they just say 20 to 30% of men will have problems. 20 to 30%. Here, 3%. Or they don't even mention it. I checked out the latest documents from Casa Leiden, where I did it. There's no more percentage. Ta-da! Some men can have problems. Some of them. Really, really rare. Oh yeah. Really rare. So depending on the country, you will see different things, and you should basically understand the first part of this video, where I explain how this works. It's not a normal process. It's not normal. It's damaging, really, and I don't know what else to say. If you need any more questions, feel free to ask on the video. I'm sure there's gonna be lots of people who will say probably like you're stupid. I'm a doctor and I've never met a guy who has problems. Well, did you check? Did you call all of them? Do you know it? Did they went to other doctors? There's really a percentage, and I think the average percentage lies somewhere between the truth and then what they exaggerate, and I think it's around 15 to 20% probably, and that's excluding the autoimmune diseases. So that's only about structural damage, which is epididymal blowouts, cysts and stuff like that. Sometimes you have congestion problems, those type of things. And the people who have immunological problems, I really pity them. You can find them on the post-vasectomy forums, and those people really have to change their whole life, the way they eat, stay on special diets to stay ultra healthy, and that's what I'm trying to do too. But that doesn't really help you, because you get more sperm production, you get higher testosterone levels, and that can cause again other issues again in your body. So it's like you get healthier, so you're gonna make more sperm, and then you have to break all that sperm down also. So I don't know. I look onto life so much differently now. I used to think that these things, just would never happen to me. I would never damage in any way my body. I would always consciously think about all the options, especially people nowadays who are chronically diseased, who are fat or whatever. There is really a way back through food, good nutrition. But when you put something in that, when you have a vasectomy, a lot of things go down from that point. You have to fight against your own body, and it doesn't really help. You see things a lot. Once you realize how that works. And I wish I was stupid somehow, so that I could not would not think about this too much. And then probably, it's so sad to see where this is going. That while we make the life expectancy higher and we have to work longer, but actually, those people who are so old, when you look at them, they're not really having a comfortable life. They can't do a lot of things anymore because of their health, and it's not the way it's supposed to be. So this is one of the biggest mistakes in my life, because I was not informed. And I don't know, I really looked a lot, but it was only on my own only on Dutch sites, my native language, and basically a lot of copy paste between the hospitals, the way they describe the procedures and what can happen to you. It's so hard to end this movie. I don't know what else to say. I hope you understand. I hope you can read a bit more about how it works,